Have you ever looked at your life and quietly asked yourself, why does it feel like I'm doing everything right, yet getting nowhere? You studied hard, you listened to your teachers, you got the degree, you found the job, and every day you give your best. Yet somehow, at the end of the month, the money disappears faster than it came. Meanwhile, you watch people who seem to work half as hard, building businesses, traveling, and living the life you thought hard work would bring. And slowly, a dangerous thought enters your mind. Maybe I'm just not working hard enough. But what if that's not the problem? What if there is a silent trap that keeps millions of ambitious people exhausted, stressed, and financially stuck, no matter how hard they work? The story you're about to hear isn't just about one young lady. It might be about you. Meet Sarah. Sarah was 25, ambitious, and full of dreams. Growing up, her parents taught her one simple formula: study hard, get good grades, find a good job, work harder than everyone else, and success will come. Sarah followed that formula perfectly.
Top of her class, degree in hand, corporate job secured. She believed she was finally on the path to freedom. Every morning, Sarah arrived before most people in the office. Most nights, the cleaners were already mopping the floor before she packed her laptop and went home. Her coworkers admired her. Her managers trusted her. She volunteered for extra projects, worked weekends, answered emails late into the night. She wore her exhaustion like a badge of honor. Even when her mother called and heard the tiredness in her voice, she would say, "Sarah, my child, slow down." But Sarah always gave the same answer: success requires sacrifice. Hard work never fails. And honestly, most people would have agreed with her. But there was a problem. No matter how many extra hours she worked, her paycheck stayed the same. After rent, food, transport, bills, there was barely anything left. Sarah was giving more of her life without getting more of the life she wanted. And then there was David, an old high school friend. David never followed the same path. While Sarah spent 12 to 14 hours working every day, David had quietly built a small business that seemed to make money even when he wasn't working. Some mornings, Sarah was stuck in traffic on her way to the office. At the exact same time, David was posting pictures from cafes, reading books, going to the gym, living a life Sarah couldn't understand. She kept asking herself, I work harder than him, so why is he getting ahead? What Sarah didn't know was that she was about to learn a lesson that would completely change her life. And it happened on a Tuesday. Her younger sister was getting married. Sarah had promised months earlier that she would be there. But 3 days before the wedding, a major client problem landed on her desk. Her manager made it clear it wasn't optional, so Sarah missed the wedding. While her family laughed, danced, and took pictures together, Sarah sat under cold office lights, answering emails. That evening, another file landed on her desk. I need this by tomorrow morning. Sarah stared at the screen. 3 days of little sleep. Too much coffee. Too much stress. Not enough rest. She stood up to get water. The office lights blurred. Her head spun. Someone called her name. Then, everything went black. She woke up in a hospital bed, an IV connected to her arm, her parents sitting quietly beside her. The doctor looked at her seriously. Your body is shutting down from exhaustion and chronic stress. You cannot trade your health for a job. That night, Sarah stared at the ceiling and whispered, I did everything they told me to do. I worked until my body broke. So why am I still failing? A week later, while recovering, Sarah sat alone at a small outdoor cafe. That's when David walked past and recognized her. He sat down. Sarah, what happened? And for the first time in years, she let everything out. The stress, the long hours, the empty bank account, the disappointment.
Finally, she looked at him and asked, "I work harder than you. I have the degree. So what am I doing wrong?" David stayed quiet for a moment. Then he picked up an empty glass from the table. "Sarah," he said softly, "you're working incredibly hard. But you're playing a game that was never designed to make you wealthy." He pointed toward the glass. Imagine two people trying to fill a swimming pool. One person carries buckets all day. He wakes before sunrise, runs back and forth until his body hurts. Nobody works harder than him. Now imagine another person. Instead of carrying buckets, he spends time building a pipe from the water source straight to the pool. Once the pipe is connected, the water keeps flowing. David looked directly at Sarah. Your job is the bucket. The moment you stop working, the money stops too. You think the problem is effort, so you run faster. But the real problem is the system. Then he leaned forward. Remember these three things. Effort without leverage doesn't compound. It only exhausts you. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you don't own a path to wealth. You own a cage. And finally, school teaches people how to become valuable workers. But wealth usually belongs to the people who build or own systems. Then David smiled. Stop carrying buckets. Start building the pipe. Those words hit Sarah like lightning. For the first time in her life, she realized something school had never taught her. Hard work without leverage becomes endless suffering. When Sarah returned to work, she was different. She stopped chasing overtime. She did her job well, then went home. And every evening she started building. She looked at the skills she already had. She was great at organizing operations and creating systems. Instead of renting that skill out by the hour, she started helping small businesses build systems that could keep working long after she finished. It wasn't easy. Some nights she wanted to quit, but she kept remembering David's words. Stop carrying buckets. Build the pipe. 1 year later, her side business was earning more than her full-time job. That was the day she walked into her manager's office and handed in her resignation. She wasn't leaving for another job. She was choosing freedom. Today, Sarah owns her time. She spends more time with family. She exercises. She rests. And the systems she built continue creating value even when she isn't working. Sarah's story isn't really about jobs. It's about a lesson millions of people never learn. Hard work is important, but hard work without leverage can become a trap. The wealthiest people in the world don't have more hours than you. They simply use some of their hours to build things that keep creating value long after the work is done. So before you leave, ask yourself, what's the bucket you've been carrying? And what's the pipeline you're finally ready to build? Tell me in the comments. And if this story made you think differently, subscribe for more lessons on wealth, leverage, and building a life most people only dream about. Remember, leverage beats exhaustion every single time.